Have we ever been more divided? Have we ever in this country been more divided than we are right now? And maybe the answer is yes. But if you have been watching and reading and listening and observing the things going on in this country right now, especially if you're a young person that maybe can't recall the last time we were this divided, the answer probably is no. I mean, our history books don't teach us about this shit. Our education system isn't teaching about things like this that happened in our past. But for God's sakes, we have mobs of naked, nasty people walking the streets of Portland to protest ICE in their city. And quite frankly, they're probably not even people from Portland for the most part. They're probably paid rioters, which we know is a thing. We've seen that in the past. George Floyd, we've seen it all over the place. When Donald Trump was running to come back into office, there was all kinds of ridiculousness. And of course, Portland is not too far removed from the last time the city was burning, if it ever even stopped. We just didn't hear about it, weren't really told about it, maybe. And so it kind of grinds my gears quite a bit, and I'm sure it does for so many other people in this country. But as a person who willingly rose his hand to sacrifice everything for this country, for the people here, it's pretty upsetting. And I was doing some thinking about some of the differences between the past and now, and some compare and contrast of my own. And one of the things that I thought about was the border crisis, right? From the time that Donald Trump left office, of his last administration, until the time he came back in office, our country was infiltrated. We were invaded by illegal immigrants, not just from Mexico, not just from South America, but from all over the world. When Donald Trump took office and put an end to that shit and put our military on the border, they say now it's almost none, almost no people illegally crossing the border. And is it because of military intervention? Is it because the infiltrators know that they're not going to get a free handout? They know that they'll maybe get caught and sent back home? Or are they being fueled? Are they being fueled by all this protests and all this disruption and all this chaos that these protesters and all these other folks around our country just causing problems? Are they fueled by that? Do they think that they still have a light at the end of the tunnel to just come in and do whatever it is that they please? And hopefully the answer to that is no. But it makes me think that maybe military intervention is what we need to restore order in our cities, on our streets. And I am aware, I know full well, that there are all kinds of laws and all this other stuff about using the United States military and the National Guard to do these things. Our law enforcement agencies are tasked with this responsibility, but it doesn't seem to be working all that well. I mean, in retrospect, people have been, citizens of Memphis, for example, have been posting that Memphis is, I saw one guy earlier today was talking about he felt compelled to walk to the corner store and grab some ice, some cigarettes, and some soda, which he wasn't willing to do a couple months ago. So why not? Why not do what it takes to restore order? Now, there's this big, huge debate about whether or not military should be used to do these things, right? And we've already established that the National Guard can be used to secure and protect federal buildings, federal stuff, including helping ICE because they're a federal agency. But they're not allowed to do any kind of policing or have any kind of arrest authority outside of that. And they really don't have arrest authority to be protecting federal buildings, but they're there. And clearly it helped in Washington, D.C. And I believe that all of these governors and these local politicians in cities like Chicago and Portland and all these other places that have these sanctuary cities here in Minnesota. Boy, I really wish that President Trump would send all of these people here and take care of the problem that we have in Minneapolis. The state of Minnesota is being taken over by foreign people who are establishing their own government. They're establishing their own police. They're establishing their own everything. A government within a government. Minneapolis is no longer a safe place to go spend a night, to go to a game, go to a show, go to dinner, go to the club. None of that stuff. It's no longer safe to do that. And all of these people are just running amok. And men and women who have made the decision to raise their hand and defend this place, especially veterans who have already done their time. They've already went to combat. They've already fought. They've already secured this place. They've already supported the effort. No matter what your job in the military was, you did it already. And then we have to sit back and watch as our government seemingly lets everything that we stood for and still do stand for, everything that was fought for, everything that was trying to be preserved and protected, just slip away. And for what? Maybe it's a good idea to institute martial law and get these people out of here. I don't believe that we hear enough of the narrative. We don't hear enough voices from the people who live in these places, who are law-abiding citizens, who want their kids to be able to play in the yard, who don't want their property destroyed because they work really hard for it. Those voices are never magnified. They're never put out. They're never out there for us to hear. Unless you scroll through X or something like that and you just catch one before it's taken down. And I make it a point to, whenever I see something like that, to try to repost it and share it or like it or whatever the case may be. Because those are the voices I believe that we should be catering to. I don't believe that we should be catering to voices of people who just mean to conduct chaos and disruption. And some people will say, well, this type of thing is kind of healthy to reset the narrative in our country. Bullshit. It's healthy. As time goes by and gets further along, the young people in this country are seemingly not going to have much to look forward to unless they're willing to put in a whole lot of work to rebuild it. The men and women who have sacrificed everything in the military, police officers, teachers, all of these people that do jobs of service are all being slapped in the face, in my opinion. And for what? For some political power, for some control, for some money, for who knows why. And I believe that it might just be a matter of time, folks, until law-abiding citizens in this country take matters into their own hands. In fact, not long ago, I did watch the movie Law Abiding Citizen. I believe it's Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx is in it. The system failed him, and he took matters into his own hands and got justice. Now, I'm not out here saying that we should be, again, vigilantes and running amok and taking the law into our own hands, but when is enough enough? And if it gets too far out of hand, there are going to be people that are not going to call the police. They're not going to look to law enforcement. They're not going to look to the government for help and security. They're going to do it themselves. And I believe when and if we get to that point, we have a whole lot bigger problem. So I don't know that I 1,000% support just letting the military take over and get in these cities and get into these situations and just quell this chaos and this unrest and this violence. But man, it's going to get pretty dark. It's going to get pretty, if American parents and American citizens believe that they have no other choice. They have no other choice but to defend their place. And then whose fault is it? When we get to that point, whose fault is it going to be? Of course, this side is going to say it's this side's fault and vice versa. And we're never going to get anywhere. And so I guess I don't really know what the answer is, but we need to figure it out. Something needs to be done. Something different needs to be done. Why would it be okay for anybody in a position of power to allow these things to happen in their city, in their state, under their watch? And the only conclusion I can come to is that people like Pritzker, for example, that fat bastard, the only thing that I can think of is that he wants to ensure that he gets votes the next time around when he's running for re-election. This big bad stance about, if you're going to come for my people, President Trump, you need to come through me, so bring it. Okay. Well, I really wish the president would have showed up and brought it and whooped his ass. He is one of the lowest life forms in government right now, I believe. Same with that dumb bitch out in Portland, in Oregon, who's allowing all of this to happen right under her nose, and then coming out publicly and saying, well, there's no problem. People are fine. And then the mayor of Portland comes out and says, you know, if you come to Portland, you're going to see people riding their bikes at the cafes, having coffee, and blah, blah, blah. Well, just earlier today and yesterday, X was flooded with videos of naked people, hundreds of them, riding bikes and marching through the city. They're all a bunch of trolls. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that we've got to this point. We have naked people and people in blow-up chicken suits and banana suits dancing like it's a fucking party. And meanwhile, all the people that live in these places that just want to go to work, go home, get the kids to football practice at home or soccer or whatever it is they do, and just be and live in peace. And it's flooding everywhere. And there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. We hear all the time on the news and on social media and here and there that there's all these promises. President Trump was going to do this, that, and the other thing. Well, I don't know that he's doing everything that he said he was going to do, but we do need to, I believe, give him props for the things that he has done. The people are grateful that he did it there. The people in Washington, D.C. are grateful that he did it there. People in Chicago are coming out publicly and asking him not to give up. Send your people, send more. This is getting out of hand. And while all these politicians fight the president on cleaning up their places, their cities, criminals are just doing whatever they want. People are being violated, beat up in the streets. There's murders, there's shootings, there's all kinds of shit. It's not safe to go anywhere in these places. And furthermore, maybe less important to the masses, but important to me, and I believe important to a lot of other people in the veteran community, is a slap in the face. This is not what we signed up for. This is not what we agreed to defend. This was not the America that we agreed to help build and sustain and protect. I don't know that all of this shit is just about constitutional rights and the rule of law and due process and all that other shit. I mean, as time goes by, we hear more and more about how corrupt our system is. And then the corrupt politicians are the ones that are saying, we need to protect the constitutional rights of illegal immigrants and due process and this and that. But on the other side of the coin, there's another person exposing their corrupt behavior. I won't even go there because this will get taken down. But when will enough be enough for the people in power? Is it going to take average citizens to rise up and protect their home, protect their city, protect their favorite places to eat and get coffee, protect their parks, protect their school, protect their families and their children? If the government's not going to do it and the cops aren't allowed to do it, and we can't use the military to extinguish all this evil walking around our country, what is it going to take? And we talked about it before on the show. those people who really, really desire peace and prosperity are the ones that are most willing to defend it and defend it by any means necessary. And I think if we get to that point, there's going to be bigger problems. I hate to spout the word civil war, but holy shit, just watch and look and see what's happening around this country. Maybe not right in your neighborhood. Maybe you don't live in one of these sanctuary cities. Maybe you live out in a rural area, small town, which is amazing, great. Wish my wife and I could move to a small town in the middle of nowhere and just enjoy our lives and do what we like to do and not have to worry about anything. But that's just not our reality. And that's not the reality for a whole lot of people. So when and if we get to a point in this country where, for example, military people decide that they need to continue to live up to the oath that they spoke when they joined, will it be a problem then? Because contrary to popular belief, for many veterans, just because you had your last day in a uniform and boots doesn't mean your oath to this country ends. Doesn't mean your allegiance to that flag ends. And for many people who had to bring their buddies home, pack their buddies in body bags to be taken away on a medevac, to be sent home in a box draped with a flag, this isn't going to stand for long. What do you think will happen if, just for conversation's sake, what do you think will happen if 1 million veterans get pissed off enough to assemble and clear out Portland themselves, or get to Chicago and help the people there like they swore to do when they rose their hand and swore to protect this place against all enemies, foreign and domestic? What's going to happen then? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that too many people will put up with this for long, especially when it starts directly affecting them, especially when it starts to directly affect their families, their children, their workplace, their bank accounts, their ability to move around freely. And what is the response from the government going to be? Potentially, you're going to put all these veterans in jail for defending their home? Maybe. I suppose if you break the law, they're going to put you in jail. But somebody's got to do it. Somebody has to make the decision that enough is enough. And is martial law the way to go? Is deploying the military into the streets of America the way to go? Well, the law says that we can't do that. Not without a whole lot of other authority and votes and enacting acts and all this other crap. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know that President Trump will do it. I don't know if anybody would do it. I mean, it seems like it's the last option. And that's the place that we don't want to go. We don't want to be there. But something has to give. And who's it going to be? Who's going to give in first? America or the disruptors? Our politicians or our veterans? Our law enforcement officers, are they going to bend first and give up? Probably not. Are military people going to bend first and give up? Absolutely not. We're not built that way. Some people are. Some military people are, but majority of them are not. They didn't train us to give up. They didn't train us to look the other way. They didn't train us to just shut up and be silent. When you see treachery, when you see innocent people getting hurt or killed or put out or their shit destroyed, especially if it affects you directly. These folks aren't going to just sit back and turn the other cheek, not for very long. And furthermore, as it sits now, what do soldiers have to lose? They're not getting paid. Our politicians can't even come to an agreement to make sure our soldiers get paid. So they're already being disrespected. They're already being put out. They're already being taken advantage of at this point. I mean, what is it, 13 or 14 days the government's been shut down? The 15th of October is coming up real quick. That's payday. 1st and the 15th. What's going to happen on the 16th when none of these soldiers have been paid? Do you think they're going to show up to work? I'm sure a lot of them, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm sure a lot of them will, because that's what they're supposed to do. But it's bullshit. It's asinine. Our leadership can't even get together enough to ensure that the American people have the services that they pay taxes for, that our soldiers who are defending our country and our way of life are paid for their troubles like they were promised, but yet they got to show up to work. They got to show up and have all this military bearing and be professionals and all this other shit. But yet our politicians are publicly arguing and finger pointing in the halls of Congress and the Senate and on the Capitol steps. It's asinine, man. And at some point, there's a monster or a beast that's going to be awakened, I believe. And when that happens, I think that we're in real trouble. I don't know that we'll be in a place where the police will be able to stop it. I don't know that we'll be in a place, at least stop it peacefully without bloodshed. I mean, there's already a ton of bloodshed. There's already a bunch of destruction and chaos and all of these things. We have all of this happening in the streets of America. And our politicians at the top in the Senate and Congress and all that shit are arguing about whether or not to give illegal aliens health care and whatever else the bullshit excuses are for a shutdown. And in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. If you're an illegal immigrant, you don't qualify for American health care. Sure, maybe you came here illegally and got a job and you have some insurance, however that works. I don't believe that that's right either. You're a criminal. You broke the law coming here. Even if you came here illegally and you've never had contact with the police and you provide, good quality work to whatever it is you do and all that other stuff, great. Thanks for not being a shitbag when you've came here illegally. And maybe those are the people that should be offered some expedited path to citizenship. But they should still have to leave and come back the proper way, even if it's expedited. If you're going to be a contributing member of this community, then come be a contributing member. But as we see all over, it's not that. It's not that. I mean, look, in Minneapolis, we have an overwhelmingly large Somali community, and they just run amok also. Ilhan Omar married her brother so that she could get ahead, so he could get ahead, and then lied about it. The guy running, whatever his name is, running for mayor of Minneapolis is also a Somali dude who committed fraud as a state representative or state senator, whichever position he holds. No problem. Because that fucking coward, Tim Walz, he's not gonna do anything about any of that. Because they're probably greasing his pockets, if I had to guess. I don't know that for sure. But we do know that Tim Walz is a coward. And Tim Walz will not stand up for what's right. He'll stand up for who's got his nuts in a vice or whoever's got a fistful of money coming his way. I mean, it's pretty odd that in like 2017, he got an A rating from the NRA, right, for being likely to vote in favor of gun rights and that type of thing. And now all of a sudden he's completely flipped the script. He now gets an F from the NRA as it pertains to the Second Amendment and gun rights. This is a guy who spent 24 years in the military. Thank you for your service, but you're still a fucking coward. Spent 24 years agreeing to defend this place with guns, and he was a field artillery guy, I believe, and cannons and howitzers. Their job is to deal mass destruction. And now all of a sudden, he's totally against guns? Well, what causes that if it's not your pockets being greased or somebody's got some dirt on you? And Minnesotans are just falling for it. They love him. Some people in Minnesota just love him, and I can't understand it. I got zero respect for the guy. Anybody who is in a leadership position and abandons his people at the most important time for most of those people in their career is a coward. And if I had my way, if my opinion mattered, he wouldn't even be allowed to run for office. Not when you show cowardice like that and then lie about it. Then lie about your service. Lie about China. And do all the shit you've done here in this state. It's absolutely atrocious. But they love him. They love him because he'll do what they say do as long as they pay him. or as long as they promise him something. It's the only reasonable explanation, in my opinion. I really thought that we were better than this. I'd like to think that we are better than this, and that the people who are the disruptors and the biggest problems are just the ones that are the loudest, and that the people and the places and the organizations and all of that stuff that don't agree are just being silent, which is unfortunate. I think that we need to have more people speak up. I don't know if people feel like they might be alone and that's why they stay silent. I guess here around Minnesota and St. Paul and Minneapolis, there's a whole lot of bleeding heart liberals that love the guy. For what reason? I don't know. The guy who took us from a surplus to a humongous deficit in one term and then has no answers. No answers for millions of dollars missing from the state budget. I mean, just one thing after another. Our people can't even get together to ensure that our soldiers get paid, that innocent people in all of these places across America can move about their communities freely, enjoy their time, enjoy their lives, that they pay half of their income to be able to do. The amount of tax dollars wasted on all of this shit. All the stuff's going to need to be rebuilt. There's all kinds of shit. And it's just going to get more expensive, which means our taxes are just going to go up. Federal taxes for sure, and I guess it depends on what state you live in, but I'm sure those are going to go up too. And then to add on top of it, our law enforcement officers, for the most part, in many places, aren't even really allowed to do their jobs because they might lose everything. And we can visibly see time after time after time again that they are being provoked to do something stupid, to lose everything. And I got to hand it to some of these guys. I've been watching on social media all these independent videos of people post. The patience of some of these law enforcement officers is astounding to me. I'd have been put in jail a long time ago. They show tremendous bearing. And for that, I commend you for that, because I don't know that at this point in my life I could do that. I think I would be in some trouble. But times are different now. It seems like it's not okay to put out and ensure a healthy fear of authority. It's not okay for law enforcement officers to be a little heavy-handed to get their point across, to teach lessons to criminals who need to be taught lessons so that they don't do it again. And, maybe it's a good argument for the same kind of justice they deal in other countries. Public discipline, public executions for people who are rapists and murderers and are diddling kids and all these like super severe crimes against people and children, extended jail sentences, super high bail amounts, so they got to sit in jail and think about what they've done. Prisons that make you do extremely difficult manual labor for 25 years. I don't know that this new form of policing that's been going on across America since George Floyd overdosed on fentanyl, and all of these reforms to make prisons a little softer and make jail a little softer and make the cops a little softer. I don't know that all of that is helping at all. It certainly isn't reducing recidivism rates. What's reducing recidivism rates are judges who won't hold people accountable. The cops aren't supported to do their jobs properly. They're not supported to exert their authority when the situation dictates that it needs to be done. Criminals and bad people in this country have learned over the last 5 to 7 years, in my opinion, that there are no major consequences. You can do whatever you want. And for some get caught, some win, but the second that one doesn't, the second that one gets beat up by the police, or they decide they're going to use weapons and get shot by the cops, or even just a do-gooder trying to protect innocent people, they're memorialized. The people that are meaning to do good and stop evil are put in jail. They're ostracized. Their lives are destroyed. They show up at your house. They destroy your shit. They attack you. Violence and more violence. And so, like I'm saying, I don't know that we want to get to a place where the people in this country who really know how to deal violence and how to be violent, more violent than Antifa, more violent than some punk ass son of a bitch on the street. That no real violence. I don't know that we want to see that happen. I think it would be a short-lived skirmish, but I don't know that we want to get there. I think what we really should be shooting for and working towards is a way to just have peace. I mean, I know it sounds cliche and it's probably overstated, but it can't be true enough. We should be working towards some scenario where we agree to disagree. Bad people face bad consequences. Good people are rewarded for being good, or for that matter, just left alone to do whatever it is that they do in peace. And if peace is not restored and order is not restored to this country in some kind of short order, I think it's going to be a bad situation. I think it's going to be a bad situation if the people who really know violence decide that they've had enough. And I hope it doesn't come to that. You can hope in one hand and wish in the other, and then they're both going to be filled with shit. I don't even know if I got that right, but oh boy, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because these aren't the things that we fought for. These aren't the things that we agreed to protect and to look after and to make better. It really sucks. It really sucks to know that so many men and women have given just about everything that they can, and now this is what we got. It's too bad. Hopefully there's some kind of bright light on the horizon. Hopefully we can be better. What do you think? If you've made it all the way through this video, like and subscribe if you would. I would really appreciate it. But what do you think about all of this? What is it going to take? And then what will the tipping point be? What's going to be the tipping point in this country for order to be restored? If the government's not going to do it, how far are we going to allow these people who deal in chaos and destruction? How long are we going to allow it to happen? What's the tipping point? What do you guys think? Any comments or whatever are appreciated. Let's have a discussion in the comments or whatever. Email, send a video, whatever it is. But something's got to give at some point. I think we could all agree that this has gotten way out of hand. It's gone too far. And the answer is not that it's President Trump's fault. And say what you want about him. There's people out there that say that he's in bed with Israel and the Jews and that he doesn't care about America and this and that and the other thing. But every week he's doing peace deals and he's cleaning up Memphis and he's doing things for veterans and he's doing things for poor people. I mean, there's all kinds of shit that he's doing, but yet everyone wants to say that he's the problem. It seems like he's done more for America than of course Biden never did. Seems like he's doing more for America than Obama did. Obama did nothing but start all of this bullshit, this division. Him and Big Mike, his big gay wife with a dick. Maybe, how about this? Maybe he is corrupt. Maybe he is getting a bunch of money under the table and the back door. Maybe, but he's still doing good things for the world. Whoever would have thought that there'd be peace between Israel and Hamas? Now it remains yet to be seen if it holds up. But at least they got there. They signed some deal. They had ceremonies and all this other stuff. They're going to consider him for the Nobel Peace Prize. And even after all of that, after all of these things, people are still going to say that he's the problem. I don't know. I don't know that he's a great man. I don't know that he's 100% clean, squeaky clean. I don't know that, and he's probably not. But I believe that he's still done more for the American people than Biden did, than Obama did, maybe even than Bush did. Like him or not, he's getting results. Anyway, again, let us know what you think. Leave a comment down below. That'd be great. Let's start a discussion. What do you guys think is going to be the tipping point? We'll see you next time. Have a good night.